On this toy spot, we're going to be having a look at DC Universe Wave 4 Cyborg. Cyborg comes to us from the Despero wave. And get a good look at the package. Before we actually open this figure up, there's starburst on the front there, the note very orange. I'm sure if you've watched any of my reviews, all this seems very familiar, so I do apologize for that. Down below you can see Cyborg figure 2 in this wave. Includes your collect and connect figure piece. And in this case it's the right arm of Despero. On the back of the packaging, the other figures in this wave are the Cyborg, Captain Atom, Batman Beyond, Ares, and Wonder Woman. Very interesting that a lot of the characters in this wave, really aside from Ares, all featured a variant of sorts. Even so much as the Batman Beyond and the Cyborg both came with KB Exclusive figures as well. The Batman Beyond had an unmasked Terry McGinnis figure, and in the case of Cyborg, I think you can see it here, the normal Cyborg figure had a claw. If I flip it around here, the KB Exclusive, however, if you ask me, has the much cooler accessory, and he's got more of like a funnel gun. But we'll look at that when we open the figure out of the package, or get it out of the package. The biography read-up on Cyborg says, Victor Stone's dreams of Olympic fame were crushed when his scientist father inadvertently released a creature from another dimension. Inadvertently released a creature from another... Because, you know, my dad's done that. And I've said, oh, Dad, come on. Another creature from a dimension? Come on, man. It says, Victor's mother was killed by the creature and Victor suffered crippling injuries. To save his son's life, Silas Stone grafted cybernetic limbs to Victor, turning his son into more machine than man. Known as Cyborg, he is advisor and trainer to the Teen Titans. I don't know. So his father not only releases a creature from another dimension, but thinks the best thing to do is turn his son into a half-man, half-machine thing. I tell you, he's going to win Best Father of the Year, I tell you. Statistics. First appearance, DC Comics Presents, number 26, October 1980. Real name Victor Stone, occupation Teen Titan. Base of operations, San Francisco. Special abilities, cybernetic limbs and organs enable enhanced strength, speed, and agility. Super sight and hearing, able to interface with computer systems. Very interesting. But there's packaging on Cyborg. What we'll do is we'll get this guy out of the packaging, and we will get a better look at Cyborg. So stay tuned, guys. Much more to come. Before we actually look at the figure, just a little short story here. I took the piece out, checklist time by the way, I took the piece out from good old Cyborg here, and I noticed that this joint was way up at the top. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll just bend it. And I had to spend about 20 minutes without a word of a lie, to scrape away the paint that was in the grooves of this ball joint. Needless to say, that after much frustration and much paint flaking, I think I finally got the joint right. Oh man, I was so worried that this was going to break right off, and although I've got 2 Batman Beyonds, so the joint wise, I think I have 2 of every joint except for this one arm. So if this arm had broken off, oh, that would have been the end of it. But checklist time, guys, checklist time. We've got Despero here, and we've got the very frustrating arm. The one thing is, at least the area that I've had to flake off, you're not going to see it anyways, because when it gets pegged into Despero, no fuss, no muss. And hopefully this arm's not going to give me problems. So, at any rate, Despero only needs his one leg, and then he's a complete figure. So hopefully we can rectify that problem in the next review. We'll put Despero aside, and we'll look at the Cyborg. Now my Cyborg's a bit wonky legged here. Just have to adjust it a little bit here. It's a decent looking figure though. I have to admit, I have to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Cyborg growing up. I remember watching him in the Galactic Guardians cartoon, and I just never warmed up to the character. I don't know why. I really don't like cybernetic or like, you know, characters that have all these robotic parts. I just never been a big fan. However, I will say the figure is very nice. Very nice. And as I was mentioning before, the arm, actually, yeah, there we go. The arm can come off, and we'll just put Cyborg down to the side here. As you can see, he does come with the funnel. It's like a funnel kind of gun. I'm sure there is a correct term for it, but having not really followed Cyborg too much, I can't tell you what it is. But he does come with a funnel gun. If we look at the packaging, I'll move the camera up a bit. As I mentioned, the other Cyborg did come with a claw arm. I find this to be a far superior accessory to get for him. So if you ask me, not that my opinion matters much, but if you ask me, I think if you're going to go with a Cyborg, get the one that has this attachment rather than the one with the claw. I just find it much cooler, and I think he stands a better threat to villains with a gun like this than a claw. Claw's really only going to work if a villain's really close by, or I guess if he wants to lift some logs, you know, if he wants to lift up a car. But the detailing's pretty good on him. The paint's pretty good. I don't seem to have any bleeding issues, especially small areas such as this. I would have almost expected it to be a bleeding where it bled into the brown. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Pretty good indeed. And actually, in fact, I'll also point out the fact that this must be a smaller scale. And obviously, I don't think they would have reused a torso, because as you can see, the area where the cape would have been installed, there is no slot or no hole in the back. So this looks like it is probably, even though obviously the fact he's got all these other things on him, it is a 100% brand new mold. So very nice looking figure. In the way of his articulation, he has the articulated head. You can bend his head left and right, up and down. He has the articulated shoulder. You can rotate the arm at the bicep. You can bend the elbow. Despite the fact he doesn't have a wrist or doesn't have a hand on this arm, you can still, of course, rotate the gun. Not that it really is going to do very much. You can bend the torso back and forth. And you can rotate. No. Now either mine is really stiff or you don't have articulation. It does look like you can rotate the waist, but it probably makes sense that you can't, just because of this belt that's kind of in the way. You can bend the legs back and forth. That's really strange. My legs aren't really even moving either. Wonder if it is because of these side pieces, because as you can see, the leg really doesn't want to move. It does bend out, and you can rotate the thigh, bend at the knee, and bend at the foot. This leg bends out, or yeah, this leg can move in and out, so maybe just this one leg is a bit stiff. As I've mentioned before, I would much prefer a stiff joint than a really loose joint. At least the figure's not going to give you problems down the road. And while I admit I'm not a fan of Cyborg, I do like the figure. And if you're collecting up the Teen Titans, or if you want to try to put together the Galactic Guardians, you know, with the classic Firestorm and whatnot, the Cyborg is a good addition. Definitely a good addition to the set. Now, I would give this figure about a 5. And really, again, it only stems from the fact that I'm not a big fan of the character in the first place. The mold and the sculpt is very nice. But I would give him, though, a 5. But that was a toy spot on the DC Universe Wave 4 This was the Cyborg with the KB Exclusive gun. And stay tuned for the remaining reviews of the DC Universe Wave 4, plus the Collect and Connect review of Despero. So much more to come, guys. Stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.